Vancouver is known for being an unaffordable market, and yet it's no surprise when Wowa.ca releases a new report that indicates that Vancouver topped the charts again as the #1 most unaffordable city in North America.
You're listening to the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast with your host, Cameron Manning. We bring you the industry experts each episode who will help you man up on your real estate career.
Welcome back to another episode of Manning Up After Dark on the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast. We're going to be talking about a report that recently was published by Wowa.ca that ranked the most unaffordable cities in order based on median income compared to average home prices. And again, it's no surprise, Vancouver tops the charts. We have seen this time and time again, but we're going to break down what I think is some of the major issues that lead to Vancouver being one of the most unaffordable cities. So let's dive right into it. First and foremost, when we look at the chart, and I'm going to have it posted right here, Vancouver takes the list as one of the most affordable because of its median income sitting at around $66,000. In fact, there's only one city on this list that has a lower median income, and that is Montreal. And our average sale price or average home price, as it indicates, is $842,000. While we look at this report though, and we note certain things, one, we're not the most expensive city. So take the word expensive and affordability as two separate things. There are definitely more cities that are more expensive in this report, such as San Francisco, with an average price of $1,140,000. However, when we look at this report, their median gross income for a household is around $134,000. As we start factoring in a few things, one, let's talk about the income in Vancouver. Unfortunately, unlike certain cities like New York, LA, San Francisco, we don't have as high paying jobs. Vancouver has just not been able to attract some of these higher paying jobs, which would lead to a higher average income if we had more of these high paying jobs. Unfortunately, a lot of the jobs that run this city are in retail space. They're in, service industries that don't bring in nearly the same income that other sectors that have major tech industries might bring in. The other issue that I find is people's thought process around having minimum wage as a living wage. It's one of the things that I've always believed, that minimum wage was never meant to be a living wage. It was an entry level wage into the workforce. And over time, it has slowly turned into people focusing on making it their sole income. They live off of minimum wage. However, is our minimum wage that low compared to other areas? When I looked up LA, now LA is known for some of the most expensive real estate in North America. I mean, you've got these crazy houses worth 30, 40, 50 million, sometimes into the hundreds of millions of dollars in LA. We don't have many properties like that in Vancouver. Do we have a lot of very expensive property? Yes, we do. But when you look at LA, they have an insane luxury market out there, and a lot of their home prices are super, super high. Their minimum wage is not too far off of ours. Now, I'm not factoring in the US dollar versus Canadian dollar, so that does obviously change things. Theirs would be higher, but at the same token, prices of real estate is significantly higher out there. Their minimum wage is about $17.28, where ours is sitting at around $17.40. When we compare apples to apples, that is very, very close. Now, if we were to obviously factor in a exchange rate, well, that would mean that our minimum wage should be much higher, but that just doesn't make sense economically. So what is going on where more and more people are choosing to work minimum wage jobs and create that as a living wage? It's definitely an issue that I think a lot of Canadians have, where they believe, I don't know if it's an entitlement thing, I don't know if it's just they are lazy, I don't know what it is, and I'm not calling you guys necessarily lazy if you're watching this. Maybe if you're not able to afford what you're doing and you're working a minimum wage job and you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, you need to look at how you can better yourself to be able to increase your income. Can you get a promotion in your current job? Can you work towards it? Can you strive towards it? Maybe you have some skills that can get you a better job out there that will lead to more money. If people focus on how they can level up and go up in society, that would also help to raise a little bit of that median gross household income. Not saying that that is the solution though. Of course, that's not. I think the real solution dials into our policies around housing. Now, I've already talked about this a lot on this podcast, but we're going to review some of it anyways. But I believe that our housing policies here in Greater Vancouver are absolutely dog shit. There's so much restrictions when it comes to building and making sure that we create the supply. And then we're going to talk about immigration as well. That's going to cause more issues. But when we think about it, our biggest issue that's come when it comes to housing and affordability is a sheer lack of supply. This goes for rentals. This goes for purchasing. We have a sheer lack of supply. Part of the problem is the red tape that we go through when it comes to building. So many developers have to go through hoops and hoops and hoops. And of course, there's a significant amount, I've touched on it before, of costs associated just to the cities to be able to develop. And of course, all those charges get passed back down to the end consumer, the buyers or the renters, because the city charges these insane development charges. And yes, they're meant towards improving roadways and services and everything like that. It's essentially another tax that is pushed down onto the end consumer. In fact, recent reports, they're not that recent, but reports have stated nearly 26% of a new home's value in Greater Vancouver is with the charges that the city creates with the development charges. But two, we are already starting to see the effects of government policy pushing down housing starts in Greater Vancouver. Currently, as of September, we are doing about 7.5 housing starts or new construction units for every 1,000 people that are coming in. That means we are going to be significantly behind the number of houses that we need compared to the population growth that we are experiencing. Now, compare that to 2017 when the NDP took power. That was sitting at around 8.5 per 1,000 people. Still not enough. However, it is going down. We have also seen reports that housing starts due to interest rates are down anywhere from, I've read, 25 to 30%. That is going to cause significant issues down the line because as we don't have enough housing starts and we continue to see demand increase, all it's going to do is push values upwards. We've already seen this before many times. It's a cycle at the end of the day. The only way to fix this is to incentivize developers to build more. Whether you're building on land that you can do detached homes with, you're finding that missing middle and doing the 5 or 6-plex units, townhouses, or of course, increase density into condos. But that leads into the final point that I have here is that we continue to have immigration policies. Well, they are looking to restrict them because they overdid it over the last couple of years. Our immigration is going to continue to drive housing prices up because as we have more and more people come into the country, a lot of them are going to go to areas like Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal, 3 of the major global cities that people know of. When we have an increase in population, they need housing. And of course, when you think about it, most of the people who are coming in are of cultures that believe in owning real estate. When they're coming in and they're buying or they're renting, they're going to put more pressure on an already broken system that we have. Now, I'm not saying that immigration is a bad thing, and I've said this before on the podcast. We are a country that relies on immigration. When we need jobs to be filled, we need immigrants to come in and do it. But it has to be done the right way, and it has to be controlled properly where enough people are coming in and we are not opening the floodgates like we have done in the last little while. In fact, in 1 year, we gained over 1 million new Canadians. Where are all these people going to go? This is why we are having significant housing problems in Canada, specifically in areas like Vancouver or Toronto, which drives prices up. We're not getting people who are coming in and necessarily working jobs that are higher paying, increasing the average median income. No, most of them are coming in and they're taking jobs to get into the job market here at like Tim Hortons or McDonald's or anything like that. And again, we can't fault them for that. But the more people coming in and taking jobs like that, it's going to keep our median household income low. And of course, it's going to make Vancouver look unaffordable, which it is. However, there are certain things we can do. One, we need to attract more industries that can bring in higher paying jobs into the Greater Vancouver area. We need to incentivize businesses to want to create jobs here where people can earn a decent living. We also need to cut the red tape and incentivize developers to be able to increase the level of inventory and increase their housing starts so we can keep up with immigration. These are just a few of the minor things that we can do in order to fix a problem that our government is creating in this country. However, until that starts to happen, we are going to continue to see Vancouver rank as one of the #1 most unaffordable cities. And at this point, we're just used to it. We know it's coming every single time a report comes, but maybe one day we'll have a government. This is a long hope. We'll have a government that will recognize what needs to actually be done, create the policies that will help, and maybe we can lower that rank a little bit. I don't think we're going to be really low, but maybe we can be number 3 or maybe even 4 if we work really, really hard. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? What are some of the reasons why Vancouver is continuing to be one of the most unaffordable cities in North America? Drop them in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. And of course, if you guys have enjoyed this podcast, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, or rate it if you're listening on Spotify, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.